Tonight on CTV News, a gunman has gone on a rampage in Ashburton. Thousands take a walk down memory lane as the Littleton tunnel turns 50. And a groundbreaking tube feeding program for children has begun. This is CTV News. I'm Grant Mangan. A community has been left devastated after a homeless man is believed to have killed 2 people and injured another this morning in Ashburton. Right now, police are updating media at a press conference, and we do hope to bring you an update from the conference later in the bulletin. But right now, here's a report from Marcus Gibbs.
Ashburton in lockdown. Armed police have cordoned off several streets after a shooting this morning.
This is a very tragic event. 2 people have lost their lives.
Something like this couldn't happen in a place like Ashburton.
Police are seeking a homeless man, John Henry Tully, after a shooting that killed 2 people and injured another at the Ashburton Work and Income Office on the corner of Mass and Moore Streets.
So Mr Tully, when he was last seen, we believe was wearing camouflage clothing, has a balaclava and may be in possession of a sawn-off shotgun.
48-year-old John Tully was last seen cycling towards the Ashburton River.
We were undertaking quite a thorough search of the riverbed area with AOS and SDG members. We have helicopters activated. We are looking for that person of interest.
At one point, the area surrounding Lake Hood was blocked off by the armed defenders squad. This man had been locked out of his home for an hour and a half when we met him at the edge of the police cordon.
I've just been told we're not allowed on the farm. There's been a shutdown at Lake Hood.
He was shocked by the day's events.
Well, you always expect it to happen somewhere else, don't you? Obviously, very sad day for Ashburton, to be fair.
This woman was saddened to hear of the deaths. She lives metres from the Work and Income Office where the shooting happened.
Pretty scary, just sort of looking out of the window and seeing the armed defenders squad.
Ashburton Mayor Angus Mackay was horrified to hear of the shooting.
A very, very sad occasion. Ashburton is not this kind of town.
He says Ashburton is a close-knit community and the local council wants to help any way it can.
A number of people in this town will know the people involved, and my heart goes out to those people, and if I or the District Council can be of any support to them in whatever way, we'll do our level best to assist.
Mr Tully featured in a series of articles on Ashburton's homeless problem last month. He'd recently moved back to Ashburton and was camping at the local domain to try and raise attention for his plight. It was reported he'd asked for help from the Mayor and local MP Joe Goodhue. The Ashburton public has been warned to stay indoors, while armed police and dog handlers continue to comb the streets, searching for John Tully. Marcus Gibbs, CTV News.
And staying with the issue of homelessness, over the weekend, Labour announced big plans to tackle the homeless problem in Christchurch.
Aiming to house the homeless in Christchurch. After Labour's homeless plan was released over the weekend, Labour leader David Cunliffe says he believes homelessness is not a lifestyle choice. David Cunliffe says Labour plan to take action to provide more emergency housing, aiming to get vulnerable New Zealanders off the streets and out of their cars. The Labour leader says the party planned to redirect the $5 million from National's failed reviewable tenancies policy to fund supported emergency housing for 1,000 people each year. Labour leader David Cunliffe today.
Christchurch is actually a priority for homelessness because we understand that rents have got away on us and that there are a large number of people in Christchurch who are homeless, which is why we are making it a priority under Kiwi Build to build some of our first homes here, and some of them will be specifically allocated to homelessness.
The national government estimates there are more than 7,000 Canterburyans homeless or living in temporary and overcrowded housing. Labour's housing spokesperson Phil Tubefed says the housing crisis in Christchurch is a main priority and Labour's Kiwi Build will be a part of the solution.
The first 400 will be retained as temporary supported emergency housing because the government's own figures indicate that up to 7,500 people are homeless in Canterbury today. That's totally unacceptable. It's a casualty of the government's total failure to get the residential rebuild happening 3.5 years after the quakes.
National's housing spokesperson Dr Nick Smith has said Labour has been telling New Zealanders they would deliver 10,000 houses per year and have explicitly stated each year. Dr Nick Smith says this remains a stated policy on Labour's website. David Cunliffe said in reply today what Labor promised was 10,000 homes on average a year over 10 years.
Of course you don't get 10,000 in the first year because you're gearing up the system. What we're absolutely committed to and convinced of is that by providing certainty to the builders, that they will be able to gear up to deliver the number of homes that we're contracting for over the 10-year period.
Joelle Batista, CTV News.
Labor has also announced a proposal for a Christchurch commuter rail system to ease northern traffic congestion.
Bringing rail back to Canterbury, Labor's new plan for northern commuters. Housing spokesperson Phil Tubefed says with the rebuild of the city, to reduce traffic congestion and make a difference, rail needs to be part of the plan. Labor plans to put $100 million towards the rail service, including unallocated funds out of the National Land Transport Fund.
We have a network of railway stations around the city supported by high-frequency rail that they will be able to walk and cycle to those stations. The stations will be fed by high-frequency joined-up bus services that will give us reach right across the city.
A popular solution for northern Canterbury travellers, Phil Tubefed says the railway will cut the commute down to just 30 minutes. If all goes well, the trains will run every 15 minutes during peak times. 5,000
people commuting from Rangiora and Kaipoi every day. In the morning rush hour, that means people are routinely facing an hour-long commute on the roads. So the transport modelling that's been done to support this proposal shows that about 10% of those commuters would choose to take the train.
Running from Rangiora to Addington, in the second stage of development, Labor plans to build the tracks all the way to Ralston. For now, the focus is getting commuters into the city.
So the tracks currently come to the Addington station, which is just down the road here. In a future phase of the rollout of the rapid transit rail system for Canterbury, we anticipate that a CBD link will be put in place.
It's not the first time Canterbury residents have heard the possibility of a rail service. The New Zealand Transport Agency looked at a short-term railway line earlier this year. Wanting to reduce traffic and peak times on the northern motorway, the option was ruled out as the operating cost of the service alone was too much. Phil Tubefed says Labor's plan is viable as it has a different time frame.
The recent ECAN study simply looked at a temporary 6-month option. To do that, there are quite significant fixed costs that have to be met, and just not viable for 6 months. But we're talking about putting in place the backbone of Canterbury's public transport network for the next 100 years.
At the announcement today, Labor leader David Cunliffe said the railway will be operational within a year. Joelle Batista, CTV News.
More than 25,000 people turned out to celebrate the 50th birthday of Littleton Tunnel.
Taking a walk down memory lane, the Littleton Tunnel celebrated its 50th anniversary over the weekend, allowing locals this special opportunity to head inside on foot.
We've lived there for a number of years, but to walk it, we drive it every day, but yeah, fantastic.
Great, really enjoyed it. Do it again in 50 years' time.
More than 25,000 people turned out on Sunday to make the 2-kilometre journey.
It's a bit slow going back into the tunnel, but it's a nice experience.
With the young and old proving how far forms of transportation have come, from these historical penny farthing bikes to the latest schoolyard scooter. But these twin brothers took to foot, retracing their steps from 1964.
I went through here with a pair of gumboots on at 14 years old when they opened it.
Many of those who walked through the tunnel were walking through for the second time.
We have the certificate still at home commemorating the opening, so it's a pleasure to be here today.
But not everyone was quite so lucky. This local resident was walking through with just the memory of her mother, who was by her side at the opening 50 years ago.
I'm wearing her watch to be so she's with me tonight, and it's still going. It's 10:25.
This man helped build the tunnel and still holds his original invitation to the opening. The tunnel officially opened in February 1964. When it was built, it was one of the most ambitious highway projects, taking 4 years to build at the cost of $2.7 million. The celebration was delayed 6 months until the new $1.5 million tunnel control building was completed.
In the event of another earthquake, this tunnel will always be safe and always be able to be used.
In 1965, an average of more than 2,000 cars used the tunnel. Today, more than 11,000 commute through the tunnel each day. Emma Cropper, CTV News.
And happy birthday, tunnel. Well, coming up, a groundbreaking program for tube feeding children.
The world has a great deal to tell. Journalists from across the world report on their home nations and the experiences of the people who live there. World Stories.
Come on down to Ferrymead Golf. Care for a game of paintball? How about some swings on the old driving range? Or on our par 3 9-hole golf course? Test your skills on the mini golf course or have a go at the airgun shooting range. Then relax at the Wow Cafe with one of our super succulent Wow Burgers. Whether you want to perfect your swing or are looking for a fun family day out, come down to Ferrymead Golf, 50 Ferrymead Park Drive, right next to the Ferrymead Heritage Park.
Looking for that perfect gift for a loved one? Wanting to add some vibrance to your home? Or just looking to brighten up your workplace? No matter the occasion, the Hitching Post has something for everyone. Lose yourself in their extensive range of homeware, art, glass and plasma cut metalwork. The Hitching Post is your one-stop shop for great style and quality. So come on down to the Hitching Post, 722 Marshland Road.
Hi, I'm Caitlin, the naturopath here at Staywell Pharmacy. Working with the pharmacist, I use herbal and nutritional medicine to recommend natural alternatives for your health. This can be to counteract any side effects of your medication, general health advice, or natural options for you and your family. I'm also available for consultations. So come in and see us at Staywell Pharmacy, 27 Shands Road, Hornby. Staywell Pharmacy, live well, stay well.
Hi, I'm Steve and welcome to Carpet Kingdom. At Carpet Kingdom we stock a massive range of carpets and we're also the largest vinyl stockist in the South Island. And not only do we have an excellent range in store, but you can purchase our stock online. We offer free measuring quotes, we have our own installation team, we ship nationwide, so come on down and see us at Carpet Kingdom, 312 Wilsons Road in Waltham, just off Brougham Street, or visit us online at carpetkingdom.co.nz.
Your New Home is a new show coming soon to CTV. We follow two families for 12 weeks through their exciting journey building a new house in Christchurch. Your New Home starts September the 2nd at 8 p.m. right here on CTV.
Progress results show Joe Byrne is the highest polling candidate so far in the Shirley Papanui Community Board by-election. Each of Christchurch's 8 community boards comprise 5 directly elected members along with their ward's elected councillors who represent and act as advocates for the interests of their communities. So far, more than 11,400 votes have been received. Joe Byrne has received nearly 5,400 votes, followed by Emma Rawson with 3,951 votes. Byrne made headlines following a devastating 100-year flooding event earlier this year. She quickly became an advocate for her community, forming the Flockton Residents Group. 178 special votes and last-minute voting papers still need to be tallied before a winner can be declared. Hundreds of children across New Zealand are fed by tubes into their stomachs. A pilot program begun in August has been groundbreaking for affected parents.
Bonnie Lintott is an ordinary Canterbury woman fighting for change. Her mission, wanting tube-fed children weaned off and taught to eat for themselves. Her aim, getting the Ministry of Health to assist with funding. A groundbreaking pilot program at Starship's Children's Hospital began late last month, aiming to get hundreds of children fed by tubes, learning to eat and drink.
What we want after the Starship wean has happened is the Ministry of Health to actually fund this weaning program, because at the moment it's costing $10 to $14 million per annum to keep these children tube fed, when almost a third of those children, which is 630 of them, could be eating right now if this rapid weaning help was available to them.
There are more than 600 tube-fed children across the country, with at least 1 in 4 identified as appropriate for tube weaning. The trial program comes at a price of $45,000, the bill fronted up by the New World supermarket chain. Bonnie Herdman says this is exciting news. Alongside other mothers across the country, Bonnie has been fighting for other children since her own daughter was cured.
So when I got back, I've done nothing but, with a group of mums from Wellington, campaigned for other children, with the petitions that we did to Parliament. I've been up to Wellington a lot and met with parents up there that are going through hell at the moment because they're not being supported enough as well.
Bonnie's daughter, Inara Herdman, was tube-fed from birth until just a year ago. New Zealand doctors told Bonnie Inara would never eat like a normal child. Determined to try the weaning program overseas, Bonnie and her partner took Inara to Austria to be weaned off the feeding tubes. The process took 3 weeks and was proved successful. Inara now is almost 4 years old. Very aware of the change she went through learning how to eat, she pointed out her scars from where she used to be fed from.
Wow. That was my pig whiz.
Through there? So what happened in there?
I got my food inside. I was a baby.
Bonnie Lintott says the number of children growing up tube-fed are overwhelming and something needs to be done now.
And for the Ministry of Health to fund it, it's going to help a lot of families financially. I mean, parents are going to be able to go back to work, not having to tube-feed their child all day, and emotionally, I mean, it takes a real emotional toll on the family and yourself when you've got a child that's deathly ill all the time because of tube feeding. So there's a lot of things that come with tube feeding that are not so pleasant that are related to the tube feeding.
The Starship program has already celebrated some success with tube weaning children, only 3 weeks through. Joelle Batista, CTV News.
The New Brighton Legacy project is back on track.
New Brighton's Legacy project is back on track. At a meeting held over the weekend, the Christchurch Mayor and local community groups have refocused their plans for the hot saltwater pools. Those attending the meeting agreed the process to engage the community and gain feedback around the project hadn't worked. Christchurch Mayor Leanne Dalzell reinforced the Christchurch City Council's commitment to seeing the project completed. The project is expected to cost an estimated $20 million. Since May, community groups have been discussing what the project should be, considering everything from an artificial reef to a casino. But last month, they settled on an all-weather hot saltwater pool complex. The meeting's facilitator, Reverend Peter Beck, says as a community, we now need to discuss and review the relationship between the New Brighton Master Plan and the Legacy Project and ensure the two projects are connected with each other. Paul Zarnin, the manager of the New Brighton Business and Landowners Association, says his association now felt a lot more confident with the relationships between the council, the community and private industry.
Still to come, your regional sports news and regional weather.
With all the latest innovations in the world of technology, Shift has everything you need to stay informed and in the know. Shift, 2:15 on Monday, right here on CTV.
Spectacular rugby being played in the Press Cup 2014. Get your copy. DVDs available. Call right now, $29.95.
There's a general election in September. If you didn't get your enrolment update pack, then you're not enrolled to vote. To get an enrolment form, go to elections.org.nz or free text your name and address to 3676.
It's Blackwell's Mazda Demolition Sale, with prices on selected demonstrators that'll blow you away. BT50 4x4 from $39,995. CX5 from $35,595. Mazda 6 LTD from $49,995. CX9 from $55,495. And Mazda 3 from $30,800. The clock's ticking. These prices could blow any second. Call Blackwell's Mazda Stockburn today.
Action Removals, offering short or long-term storage facilities, full packing services, comprehensive rates, all fully insured and with 6 vehicle sizes to choose from. Earthquake repairs? Action Removals pack, move, store and return your valuable possessions stress-free. Action Removals, a family business that has been operating in Christchurch for over 10 years. Action Removals, your one-stop removal service on time, every time. 0800 222 526.
Meet the latest arrivals at Berlin's 2 animal parks and find out what it takes to be a zoo baby in a modern zoo. Zoo Juniors. Wednesday nights at 8 p.m, right here on CTV.
Here's Gordon Findlater with highlights of the weekend sporting activities.
Christchurch Boys High School put in a spirited display against Otago Boys High on Saturday to take out the South Island schoolboy rugby title and book their spot in the national finals for the first time since 2006. After a strong first half display, Boys High ran in 2 quick tries early in the second half to look comfortable before hanging on to a slim lead camped in their own half in the dying minutes. Their 28-23 win over Otago Boys means they will now travel to Rotorua for the national finals with the 3 top North Island sides. Christchurch Boys will take on Chiefs regional winners and defending national champs Hamilton Boys High on Friday, with the winner progressing to the final held on Sunday. It was goals aplenty on Saturday as the Canterbury Red Devils completed their three-peat in the National Ice Hockey League. The Red Devils took out Game 2 of the best-of-3 final series against the Dunedin Thunder, a whopping 14-6 at Alpine Ice. After taking Game 1 the previous weekend in Dunedin, the Red Devils didn't require a third game, comfortably taking the title in Saturday's Game 2. The coveted Finals MVP award went to Dale Harrop, who was described by fans as having a ruggedly handsome playoff beard whilst being a beast on the ice. The Canterbury Cavaliers got their National Men's Hockey League campaign off to the perfect start on Saturday when they downed Capital 5-3. 3 goals in the space of just over a minute and a hat-trick to Cam Haid proved pivotal in Canterbury's opening match, with the Cantabs running away with the match in the third quarter. Earlier in the day, Canterbury's women's team defeated Capital 3-1, with all 3 goals going to Sian Freemax. South Canterbury moved to the top of the Heartland Rugby Championship on Saturday after they defeated West Coast 49-15 in their second round match in Greymouth. Meanwhile, defending Meads Cup winners and neighbours Mid Canterbury are in third on the competition ladder after they had a 23-all draw with Wairarapa Bush in Masterton. The top 3 consists of all South Island teams, with Buller in second after they defeated East Coast 62-6. To Rugby League, where the Canterbury Bulls made it 2 from 2 yesterday when they defeated the Waikau Bay Stallions 38-20 in Huntly. The win came on the back of success the previous weekend, with the Bulls downing the Capital Vipers 18-12 in the opening round. The Bulls will face their toughest test to date this coming weekend when they test themselves against defending champs the Falcons at Denton Park. And finally tonight, Cashmere Technical have had the perfect build-up for this Sunday's Chatham Cup final in Auckland after they retained their South Island Championship title, beating southern rivals Caversham 3-0 at English Park over the weekend. It took Tech just 8 minutes to get amongst the goals after captain Tom Schwartz ran onto a well-placed corner from Aaron Clapham. Clapham then doubled the lead in the 35th minute after running on to a sloppy back pass from the Caversham defence before rounding the keeper. Tech's final goal came in the second half, sealing a comfortable win for the current Mainland Premier League and Chatham Cup holders. You're up to date with the latest in local sport I'm Gordon Finlater for CTV Sport.
Each week we invite our viewers to suggest some music to accompany the regional weather. This week's track is entitled Space Maker from the album Pocket Symphony by the French band Air. Time to check out your regional weather.
Kia ora Canterbury, here's your evening weather. First in Timaru 12, Temuka and Geraldine hit 13 today. Methven hit a high of 11 today, with Ashburton and Rakaya hitting 12 degrees. Darfield, Leaston and Ralston, a mild day on 11. Lincoln and Christchurch, hope you've had a great day, hitting a mild 11 degrees. Over in Akaroa, they hit 11 today. Looking now at North Canterbury, Rangiora, Kaipoi and Amberley hit a high of 12. Culverden, Hanmer Springs and Cheviot had one of the region's highs on 13, and up the top in Kaikoura they hit 11 degrees. But what is in store for tomorrow? In Timaru, fine with sunny periods and some high cloud later on. Expect moderate northeasterly winds, hitting an overnight low of 0 and a high of 13 degrees. In Ashburton, mostly fine and sunny, but some high cloud developing. Expect northeasterly winds in the afternoon, hitting a chilly -1 overnight and a high of 14 degrees. In Christchurch, low cloud tonight, but fine tomorrow with sunny periods and broken cloud. Expect northeasterly breezes throughout the day, hitting 2 degrees overnight and a high of 13 throughout the day. Up the top in Kaikoura, fine with sunny periods and some high cloud later on. Expect moderate northeasterly winds, hitting 0 degrees overnight and a high of 13. And in other areas around the region, Temuka and Geraldine hit 14 today. Methven and Rakaya expect cloud with a high of 14. Darfield, Leaston, Ralston and Lincoln, cloudy with a high of 13 degrees. Over in Akaroa, a low of 2 and a high of 13. Rangiora, Kaipoi and Amberley expect cloud with a high of 13. Culverden, Hanmer Springs and Cheviot, cloudy with -1 overnight and a high of 14. And looking ahead for the rest of Canterbury, fine with high cloud increasing on Wednesday and moderate northeasterlies. High cloud increasing and thickening on Thursday with light variable winds. Cloudy on Friday with periods of rain and snow lowering to 500 metres. Moderate cold southwesterly winds are expected. Still cloudy with light showers on Saturday. Expect fresh gusty cold southwesterlies and a frosty Saturday night. Fine and sunny with light northeasterly winds developing on Sunday. And that is all for your region's weather. Enjoy the rest of your Monday.
And that's CTV News for Monday. I'm Grant Mangan. Good night.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.